What's going on, YouTube? This is your Melanated Warrior, Haywood Haynes, and this is another installment of Facts Over Feelings. Leave your feelings at the door so we can get to the facts. And I love that appreciation. I love that. It had me feeling like, Oprah. Everybody get a heart. You get a heart. You get a heart. Because y'all was on point. Especially, I love the comment by Loriano. I believe that's how you say it. And I quote, it says, yeast is a miniaturized version of the European. And it almost took the words right out of my mouth. But, we also have to remember from what they claim from their science. They state that yeast doesn't have the ability to digest lactose. Okay, it doesn't possess the enzyme lactase. All right, which is required to digest lactose. All right, but the thing is, they're a hybrid. Yeah, and it was very important that they were, that they had the ability to be able, because that actually was pertinent to the evolutionary process of the so-called Europeans. So we're gonna get into that. But we got a lot of information to cover. Remember when I told you this is gonna be on some Hiroshima Nagasaki shit? See, the last video I just drove the planes over the city. This time I'm dropping the bombs. All right, y'all like, hey, well, how can this get deeper? We ain't even started yet. You haven't even scratched the surface yet. Can you believe that? Because I just don't want you to associate yeast with bread. Let's get into it. We're about to start breaking the doors down, man. What does this title say? What does it say? Okay, we're going to read it. This is from Biosource Technology, Volume 57, Issue 3, September 1996, pages 245 to 249 if you want to look up this resource. Yeast and mold contaminants of vegetable oils. Okay, let's read. 6 vegetable oils were examined for their yeast and mold contaminants. 16 yeast and 35 mold species were isolated from the oil samples. The isolates were members of the following genera: Saccharomyces, Candida, it continues to go on to name different ones, and we're going to jump down a little bit. Among the 2 groups of fungi, Saccharomyces and Aspergillus species predominated. You see? So, and then what they were doing was they were saying, it said the cumulative maximum growths of the yeast and mold species on the oils were used to determine the stabilities of the oils to biodeterioration. See, they're not here to tell you, about these things. They're here to test and see how can we keep this organism alive in everything that they consume. This is not to educate you. This is to keep, these are these company secrets that they talk about. Because remind you, companies have the right not to list certain ingredients. So when you read, even when you got to think about it, you have this long list of ingredients on your so-called food products, and to know that these companies have a right to not list ingredients that help their food to taste the way that it tastes. So you could be missing 50 to 100 different ingredients, but one thing that we know that they're missing, that they're telling you, is this genetically modified version of yeast. Okay, that they're adding to it. So did you know that these vegetable oils, olive oil has 7-8 different type of yeast in it? Did you know that? That's why they put it in the dark bottles, and they want you to avoid your vegetable oils, putting them in light, because the light kills the fungus. They got you participating in it, in your own death. You're paying them to kill you. And you see, these crackers had this whole debate of, oh, well, it's cholesterol, and then, no, it's not cholesterol. Man, first of all, let me say this. Ain't no such thing as a Blanco scientist. I'm gonna get this through your head. There is no such thing as a Blanco scientist. They just use whatever their thought process is at the moment in order to justify pushing the agenda. Right? Because remember, one of my favorite movies is Django. And remember that incident when Leonardo DiCaprio came out with the skull, and because he had got a whiff of the plan by Django and the German that was trying to obviously get him and his wife back together. And then what did he say? He said the science of phrenology states. Remember, now the science of phrenology is outdated. It's pseudo. It was a science based, that stated that intelligence was based on the bumps of the skull. Once again, he used that science to justify enslaving you, because he said you wasn't intelligent enough to be on your own, if you believe in the narrative of slavery. And now that science is outdated, he puts another science on you. Ain't no such thing as a Blanco scientist. Look. Let's continue to read. What's this? All right. Blocking yeast-bacteria interaction may prevent severe biofilms that cause childhood tooth decay. Let's read. This is dated June 20th, 2017, University of Pennsylvania. And the summary is, in early childhood carries a severe form of tooth decay that affects more than a third of toddlers in the U.S. yeast often partners with bacteria to form an intractable means damn near impossible to get rid of, intractable biofilm. New research reveals the mechanisms that suggest a way to block the interaction and reduce plaque. Okay? This is why they had actually did an experiment on a tribe in Alaska, and they had all sorts of plaque on their teeth, right? But when they got the plaque off, they saw that their teeth were extremely healthy. Why? Because they didn't consume all the yeast. It's the yeast that does the damage. Come on, man. Let's read. Though most tooth decay can be blamed on bacteria such as Streptococcus mutans, the fungus Candida albicans may be a joint culprit in an alarmingly common form of severe tooth decay affecting toddlers known as early childhood caries. We already know this. It's in everything. It's in everything. Okay? Let's read. Give me a second. Now, this is what one of the so-called scientists said. But remind you, there's no such thing as a Blanco scientist. Instead of just targeting bacteria to treat early childhood caries, we may also want to target the fungi, said Hyun Michael Koo, senior author on the study and a professor in the Department of Orthodontics and Divisions of Pediatric Dentistry and Community Oral Health. Our data provide hints that you might not need to use a broad-spectrum antimicrobial and might be able to target the enzyme or cell wall of the fungi to disrupt the plaque biofilm formation. So you must understand something about yeast. Yeast is considered to be a eukaryotic cell. You know, you have prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Prokaryotics don't have a nucleus. Yeast has a nucleus, just like you. And remember, like we said, it breathes just like you. Takes in oxygen, breathes out carbon dioxide. That's why I said you're the perfect host. They have the perfect weapon. And you already know what the Blanco is adept at, biological and chemical warfare. Now let's continue on. Because what you have to understand is this argument, remember this big debate in the so-called scientific community. No such thing as a Blanco scientist. Oh, is it high cholesterol, LDLs, HDLs? That's what I mean. I know it's probably not cholesterol and all this. You know, you got them arguing. Why? First of all, we know that they're wrong. We know that it's yeast. That's what we know. Because there is a such thing that, look, let's go to the articles. National Institute of Health. Okay, this is from them. Systemic candidiasis. All right, let's read. Systemic candidiasis includes a spectrum of yeast infections caused by different species or types of candida. It is a serious infection that can affect the blood, heart, brain, eyes, bones, and other parts of the body. Although there are over 200 species of candida, 5 different species of candida cause 90% of systemic candidiasis. The most common form of this invasive yeast infection is when candida enters the bloodstream, called candidemia. Signs of candidemia include fever and chills that do not improve with antibiotics. Symptoms of other types of systemic candidiasis depend on the organ or system which is infected. Systemic candidiasis is the most common fungal infection among hospitalized people in high-income countries, including the United States. Diagnosis can be difficult, especially when the candida is not found in the bloodstream. See, this is why they misdiagnose you all the time. And they misdiagnose you on purpose, because they don't want to let you know what it is. They'd rather do a heart transplant. Like I said, excellent book by Michael Moss, Salt, Sugar, and Fat. He exposes the industry. They meet, okay? They have the same agenda. They meet with each other. And then that book lets you know that it's certain science that they don't teach. They purposely withhold from the schools. Remember, like I told you, why are you in these schools if they're not teaching you what you need to know? Man, come on, man. Y'all, you know, you need to see, and this goes back to the comment, you know, about why it was so important that they were able to, that they needed to evolve by, being able to take in the cow's milk, because they literally couldn't produce the sugar necessary to feed their own babies if they were breastfeeding. Do you just pause? These Europeans literally didn't have the nutrition. That's why they would have our black women breastfeed their children. I am killing you niggas. Let's read, man. Study reveals lactose tolerance happened quickly in Europe. September 3rd, 2020, Stony Brook University. Summary, a new study published in Current Biology reveals that the ability for humans to digest milk, lactase persistence, spread through Central Europe quickly in evolutionary terms. Let's read some of this shit. The ability for humans to digest milk as adults has altered our dietary habits and science. You see how they always talk like they're talking about us too. For societies for centuries. But when and how that ability, known as lactase persistence or lactose tolerance, occurred and became established is up for debate. Come on. Now, let's read. Hold on for 1 second. Let me make sure I get this. All right, hold on. Okay, this is what I want. When we look, it says, years after introduction of agriculture in Europe, which in part have involved the consumption of dairy from early cattle, goats, and sheep domesticates, only 1 in 8 of the warriors had a genetic variant that enabled them to break down lactose. Okay? When we look at other European genetic data from the early medieval period, less than 2,000 years later, we find that more than 60% of individuals had the ability to drink milk as adults, close to what we observe in modern Central European countries, which ranges from 70 to 90%, said Virama. This is actually an incredibly fast rate of change for the gene that controls milk digestion. It appears that by simply possessing this one genetic change, past European individuals with the ability to digest lactose had a 6% greater chance of producing children than those who could not. Remember, galactose means milk sugar. Galactose, when the woman body puts galactose and glucose together, it makes lactose. That's why you say a woman is lactating. And that's what she feeds her baby with. These Blancos, their women couldn't even produce that. So that's why they had to genetically engineer them with the cow. Oh my God, I got bodies all over the place. I am killing you niggas. Now you know how they evolved. Woo-wee! You see the bombs being dropped? Let me tell you something, man. Look what they say. Despite the prominence of milk drinking in Europe and North America today, approximately 2/3 of the world's population remains lactose intolerant. Who them 2/3? Who you think? I'm gonna let you take a wild guess. Because we don't need the lactose. Stupid. If the woman naturally makes it and then she shuts it off, it's because she's done feeding her damn baby. Generally, no mammal, humans are mammals supposedly, digest milk as an adult, which is why, for example, people should not give an adult cat or dog pets. They say they care more about these animals than they do us. They won't feed it to their dogs, but they'll feed it to you. Ain't no such thing as a Blanco scientist. Let me tell you how the Most High making them, they can't even relay these lies no more without impunity, without being under duress. Now, Most High got you, Most High showing you. You think, what is this? It's from Reuters. Let's read. Danish drug regulator faints at press conference announcing AstraZeneca vaccine halt. Let's read about this so-called Blanco scientist. Denmark will completely abandon the rollout of AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine due to risk of rare blood clots. One of the country's top drug officials passed out a press conference delivering the news. One of the country's top drug officials passed out at a press conference delivering the news. As National Health Board Director Søren Brostrøm announced the decision, the Danish Medicines Agency's acting director of pharmacovigilance, Tanja Eriksson, fainted and collapsed to the ground. Ain't no such thing as a Blanco scientist. See, because it changes. Remember, like I said before, I know I already said that, but I got to reiterate it. Remember when, the Django movie, man. I'm going to say it again because you have to understand there's no such thing as a Blanco scientist. They use this to accommodate an agenda. Their science is used as justification at all times. Look what they're doing now. You know, he came out with the skull, like I said, and, said, oh, the science of phrenology, which is outdated and pseudo. There is no such thing as intelligence being associated with bumps on the skull. But you let him get away with that. You keep letting him get away with shit. Keep talking these lies, and you know what he'll do when he find out some shit, some wayward shit. Let's read. What does it say? I'm gonna be all over the place because I like dropping a lot of different bombs. Scientists create early embryos that are part human, part monkey. This just came out today, right? For the first time, scientists have created embryos that are a mix of human and monkey cells. The embryos described Thursday in the journal Cell were created in part to try to find new ways to produce organs for people who need transplants, said the international team of scientists who collaborated in the work. But the research raises a variety of concerns. No shit. My first question is, why? Said Kristen Matthews, a fellow for science and technology at Rice University's Baker Institute. I think the public is going to be concerned, and I am as well. No shit, because you know that ain't why they did it. These damn demons. But let me tell you why you never go, like I said, get that book, Salt, Sugar, and Fat by Michael Moss. Like I said, they're telling you what they're doing. And I had to bring up, do some research on, what happened to some Coca-Cola employees. It was some black employees from Coca-Cola. They stole the secret ingredients to Coca-Cola and was trying to sell it to Pepsi. And what did Pepsi do? Turn their black ass in. Why? Because they got the same agenda. We don't need to know what their secret ingredient is. You know what it is now. A genetically modified version of yeast. You know what it is. Look, man, you talking about a man that still calls what he can't describe junk DNA. Because he said that it had no genetic material, so it was junk. Now, what did the Blanco do? As he does always. Oh, well, yeah, we thought it was junk DNA, but now what we found out is that it helps to fold the chromosomes inside of the cell. So why are you still calling it junk DNA, dummy? The first junk food that he came out with was in 1896. It's called Cracker Jack. I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with it. And that's the perfect term. You let this Cracker Jack fool you. And it became one of the most popular foods of its time. And it was junk food. No nutritional value, nothing. Just feed yeast. You thought he was doing the favor when he was giving your people food stamps? Oh yeah, we're trying to help you out, help them try to feed your kids. And y'all sitting up here bickering about welfare like it's a good thing. Ain't shit good about it because the end result is the same. Your kids' mind and their physical abilities become hampered. This is why we can't aspire. You wonder why we can't be them supermen and superwomen we desire to be, because you have a vampire feeding in you. Literally. You know why I be saying I be killing you niggas? It's not because it's just to be said. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm trying to kill the nigga inside of you, so the only thing that is left is God body when you look in that damn mirror. Anytime that you're at the intersection or you at the crossroads of the intersection of common sense and intelligence, please go left. Please always choose common sense. Ain't no such thing as a Blanco scientist. You have to understand, remember I was telling you with people, they talk about, oh, well, I don't drink and I don't. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Remember we said that. What does yeast do? It turns sugars into alcohol. What is wine made out of? Grapes. Okay? So even if you're eating healthy and you got a yeast overgrowth, what do you think that yeast is going to do when you put grapes in your body? It's going to turn it into wine, literally, inside of you. The biochemical process will take place inside of you instead of outside. When you eat those nasty ass potato chips, you don't drink vodka. Vodka is made out of potatoes. Some people have what's called, look this up for yourself. I ain't got a bullshit. It's called alcohol's brewer syndrome. I told you this before. Where they have so much of a yeast overgrowth that everything they put into their body, the yeast converts it to alcohol, and then they will actually fail a breathalyzer test if they were pulled over by the police. I am killing you niggas. Man, let's go go on the visual exercise right quick, because like you said, the great Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and Millie Fuller said that you have to be able, if you really are a black revolutionary, black has to be beautiful to you in every area of life activity: education, economics, entertainment, labor, law, politics, sex, religion, and war. And that's not to some people just say, oh, my people are beautiful, black is beautiful, but it ain't beautiful to you in every area. Let's go on this visual ride. Say for instance, you got transported to a planet. Let's buy into this fallacy of space and shit. You got transported to a planet. Same people, same thing, but the color schemes were different, right? So you just so happened to unfortunately get into an accident, and you were in a hospital, and you went into a coma. You finally wake up, and you see a group of doctors around you. But instead of the white coats that they usually wear, it's all black. You would be freaked out probably. Subconsciously, you'd be like, what they wearing all black for? That doesn't make me feel at home wearing all black. And then you leave that hospital, and you go home, and your cousin's watching a horror movie, right? And in that horror movie, there's these Blanco kids, as they usually, traditionally, they're in black, dressed in black when they're gothic or when they're devil worshippers, right? But then in this movie, though, they're around a pentagram and they're wearing all white. And then your cousin sitting up there, he's like, oh my God, this is scary. This look crazy. This is getting creepy. But to you, since white represents, in your world, it represents purity, you're looking at it like, that don't look scary. That don't look nefarious. See, color has to be beautiful in every area of life activity for you to get rid of white supremacy. I am killing you niggas. See what I'm saying? It's just like, unfortunately, if you went to let's even buy into this cartoon shit called hell. Say for instance you went, since they associate red with hell, and say for instance the devil was getting married, and everybody was dressing in red. That wouldn't be odd for a wedding down in hell, would it? Because red rules that realm. Just like you got a taste of it with the Black Panther movie. If T'Challa had gotten married in that movie and they were all dressed in black, that wouldn't have been weird to you. Why? Because black ruled that realm in every area: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, sex, religion, and war. And I am killing you niggas. Let me tell you something Blanco had the nerve to tell me. Oh, we need to get together, and it's about love. Love cures all. Okay, let's even walk with you on that bullshit. Okay? Because according to the Bible, they say what? That God is love. God is the definition of love. So if God is the definition of love, how come God ain't following your advice? God ain't coming down here to love Satan. God is coming down here with a war called Armageddon, you dumbass Blanco. So if God ain't listening to you, why in the fuck should I listen to you? It ain't gonna be nothing but war to get rid of you Blancos. That's what the fuck you need to know. Because your science is fraudulent. There's no such thing as a Blanco scientist. Look, let me show you. Look, because we talked about that. A lot of this shit got to be anecdotal too. Chlorophyll. If I'm a vampire, this is the blood that I drink. Plant's blood. Okay? And what does it look like when you put it in water? Looks black. That's why they call Osiris the green black god. See what I'm saying? That's why I got my green. That's why I got my Michigan. I'm so Michigan. Turmeric. I season this on my food. Helps to control the yeast. Every morning, I take me some organic coconut oil, and I put a couple drops of clove on it, and because I can tolerate it. Now, mind you, clove and oils like that, they're very powerful oils, so they need what's called carrier oils, and coconut is a carrier oil. You see what I'm saying? Which basically dilutes it. And then so I take a teaspoon, I get a spoonful of that, put a couple drops of clove, and like I said, I'm not a doctor, not a Blanco scientist, so I'm not giving you health advice. I'm just telling you what I do. You see what I'm saying? So I'm telling you that everything that you're consuming is yeast driven. It's just not the bread. Remember what we talked about? Remember the world is ruled by signs and symbols. We told you about Rome and how Rome established this committee, right, where they controlled the bread or the weapon. They didn't let nobody else control it. And down to this day, what's the most powerful symbol of that? Where can you go get the cheapest form of yeast and they put the Roman symbol on it? Ever heard of Little Caesars, people? Y'all know who sent me. bro. I ain't found nobody. Look. They knew it was a weapon a long time ago. Look at the symbolism, like I said on that book. That's in the shape of the pyramids. You think these crack, like I said, you think they don't know? Then they trying to always act aloof. We don't know what causes this. We don't know. Scientists just have believed. Scientists have just found out. Scientists have now thought. Scientists have just... Ain't no such thing as a Blanco scientist. Everything... Blanco speak 2 languages. English and latte. L-A-T-T-E. Lying all the time, every day. That's what they speak. 2 languages. Everything that come out of his fucking mouth is a lie. Everything that come out of his bitch's mouth is a lie. Okay? While they running around, you know, it's so crazy. They always be trying to make you feel insecure too. And I'll be looking at these Blancos like, because you know, when I go places, especially the way I go, I have on my mask. You know, I'm outfitted. I look like a soldier. When them crackers be looking at me, I've had their kids be like, you know, the one, I swear on everything, I cannot make this up. Little white girl walked up to me, she said, you look scary. I said, yeah, you supposed to be scared. I don't give a fuck, because she could notice. They noticed the God in me. I ain't for no fucking games. That's what y'all need to do. You need to understand that, I know we talked about the bread, but look, it's in everything. It's in everything. See what I'm saying? Biological and chemical warfare is what they are adept at. This is what you need to understand. You need to understand, and you know, when you, at the end of the day, what y'all need to always take, you know, make sure that you become intimately connected with is that there is no such thing as a Blanco scientist. And the other thing that you always need to take into consideration is that I am killing you niggas. FOF squad.